Derbyites, we're here to talk about drama supporting actor, and I think this one's a slam dunk lock of the night for Jonathan Banks.
What? A lock?
Come on, tell me why you don't think... We all have him in first place for starters, okay?
Yeah, but he's
submitted
not a
the
lock.
episode... Okay, well, first of all, he submitted 5-0. It's really the first episode where we really learn about the backstory. He's menacing, as usual. He's strong, powerful, he cries. There's just everything in this. When I first saw it months ago, I was spellbound. I watched it again this week, and I was spellbound again. He's a lock for me. Who on earth could possibly take it away from him? I do not know. But Marcus, you chime in. Why is he not a lock? You still have him in first.
I have him at first, but there are two people that I could easily switch into that first position, and that's Michael Kelly for House of Cards and Ben Mendelsohn for Bloodline. Either of those two, or counting Banks, those are your three frontrunners, I think.
All right. Charlie, do you think that Jonathan Banks is more of a lock than what Marcus thinks? Or are you on the same page as he is?
I believe that his episode is the strongest, but Michael Kelly worries me. Michael Kelly worries me a lot.
Let's talk about Michael Kelly. He submitted the season premiere, and when it first, well, not aired, but when we first saw it, we were all writing to each other, and I'm sure the forums were ablaze about how the episode was really all about his character. And, you know, it really follows, it's like a day in the life, and he does some really weird things. It's very understated, but he's injured, and he's dealing with, you know, his addiction, and it's amazing. It's very, very, very well written. It's got all of that. But for me, I just thought that it lacked fireworks. That's the only thing against him, because he's really he's amazing, but he's a little bit understated in comparison to Jonathan Banks.
Well, the advantage that Jonathan Banks has, and this is something that really goes to him as a frontrunner, is that it's for the episode. It is a complete arc. It's part of a bigger story, but the episode is a complete arc with, you know, defined points of a story with him. With this, it's like the beginning of something, and as we watch throughout the season, we see how that progresses, and so it's kind of off-putting there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Michael Kelly was very, very subtle. You're right. There was no fireworks scenes. It was all.
There's a scene where he falls in the shower. I think that's probably your fireworks scene there.
Yeah. But even then, he wasn't like screaming and yelling. He's dealing with it, you know, internally, kind of. When you see him put his hand on the on the counter and then taping it up, like.
Yeah.
But I mean, I have him in second place, and like I said, he could easily win this. But that's the reason I don't have him in first.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, we always think it's very tough with the Emmys because you never know. It's going to be easier this year because we have a much bigger voting pool, but you still never know with some of these things because, you know, things can be so random sometimes. Mm-hmm. You know, when Kyle Chandler won over John Hamm when he had the suitcase, and I always bring that one up, but that's the thing that's always in the back of my mind where even if I think someone is a lock, you know, I'm always worried about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're totally right. But Ben Mendelsohn, you don't agree with me on him, right? You think am I giving him too much of a chance to win?
I don't think you're good. I think he's all right. I just don't. Maybe I'm not seeing it. Maybe I'm just not seeing it. So, you know, I just don't see, you know, the type of fireworks that you would normally think there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have him in fourth.
Okay. Well, Marcus, you have him in third. I have him in third. I think he is one of the three front runners, so to speak, even though I think Jonathan's a lock. Ben Mendelsohn, he's a very well-known Australian actor. He's done a lot of work here before he's broken out in the US, and he plays similar characters in many projects. He plays brooding perfectly. He's menacing, just from the way he looks, you know, from the way he walks. He does this beautifully in Bloodline. But again, there's not too much really happening apart from that aspect of his character until towards the end, when, you know, the big scene happens on the beach.
Mhm.
So he has a lot of material though. Like that's what's in his favour. Like Michael Kelly and Jonathan Banks, they
Yeah.
have the material, they have the screen time, they have the impact. He certainly does. I just don't know if Bloodline's going to win anything. Although that being said, Kyle Chandler, he was brilliant in this episode as
Yeah.
well.
Also, something that it just occurred to me, like when I rewatched that episode. I mean, I've seen every episode of Bloodline. I love it, but I was kind of confused about what was going on, even though I had seen it already. So I imagine a voter coming in just plugging in episode 12. They're not going to understand anything that's going on.
And that's part of the issue that I had with it.
Yeah. Like I remember saying out loud, because I've only seen the first 3 or 4 episodes, and then I had to give up. I remember saying out loud, I don't know what's going on. I have no idea what's happening, but I'm just watching it for the performances. And that is going to be quite a few Emmy voters. Bloodline didn't cut through as well as it probably could have, and that maybe means that a lot of them haven't watched it. They're going to watch this and not really understand what's going on. So unless they're really taken with Ben Mendelsohn and his performance, he has the obstacle of Michael Kelly and Jonathan Banks, who are both in nominated drama series, where they have much more of a story arc that they will understand. Whereas this one, they're going to be thinking, what the hell has happened? So that's the problem for Ben Mendelsohn.
And also House of Cards, they've never won an acting award, but Jonathan Banks, he's from that Breaking Bad universe. I think they won 9 acting awards. So clearly that type of material is something that the Emmy voters really, really respond to. And to have an episode devoted just to Mike, I wonder if they wrote this, with the thought in mind, like, ooh, we could win an Emmy for Jonathan Banks if we give him.
I mean, it has to be. And don't forget, this episode is also nominated for writing.
Yeah.
Yes.
To me, it was the best episode of the season, personally. Mike Ehrmantraut, he was so good in Breaking Bad, and Jonathan Banks could have won when he was nominated last time, but I think it was Aaron Paul who beat him for that.
I think so. Yeah.
No, it was Bobby Cannavale.
Of course, which was a very big surprise. I remember, although Bobby Cannavale was amazing in Boardwalk Empire, he would have won if I was voting. He would have won as well. But maybe this might be a bit of makeup as well. Like, we didn't give it to you last time.
That's true.
Give it to you now. I don't know. It's a possibility. I'm trying to think of all the reasons.
Remember, Banks goes all the way back to I think 89 or 90 when he was nominated for the show Wise Guy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The reason I don't think it's a lock is because, when I think of a lock, like last year, Anna Gunn, she submitted Ozymandias, right? There was no way in my mind anyone else could take her down. I think this year Michael Kelly could upset. That's the only reason I don't say Banks as a lock.
Okay. Well, I think that you're onto something there. Maybe I should stop being such a fanboy for Mike Ehrmantraut. Michael Kelly was so good in that first episode, and I think he just gets better and better. He could have submitted the finale as well. I loved him in that. His interplay with Rachel Brosnahan, also nominated, was great. And I'm so happy that he was nominated because he's been overlooked before. This is a really, really good race. Like, we have now done all the guest categories, and we've done supporting actor in a comedy. We have a few more to do, but this is the first one that's really got me invested. I'm really invested. Any of these, if they won, I would be happy for some reason. And that brings me to Alan Cumming, because we really kind of disagree here. Charlie, you have him in 3rd. I have him in 4th. I only have him in 4th because the first 3 were just so impressive, but I really like Alan Cumming in this show. And Marcus, you have him in last place, and you're a Good Wife groupie, so
I am. I'm a huge fan.
There's a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
Go for it. Tell us why
the reason I have him so low is because the competition is just so incredible this year. Maybe last year he would have been higher, but the episode didn't do it for me. He's only in a few scenes, right? But in every scene he's in, I feel like he doesn't have the fireworks like we talked about with Michael Kelly. And I don't know, I'm kind of rambling. Why do you guys have him so high? I guess, Charlie, why do you have him in 3rd?
Well, he does. His first entrance in there is the fireworks. It's him going to Alicia, what the hell are you doing? The whole, when she, she's acting all high and mighty, and, not giving the proper acknowledgement to the outgoing state's attorney and to Ed Asner's wonderful sexist but somehow
Creepy.
democratic person. Well, it's Chicago politics, so you got to go with the Democrats. It's him schooling her when he first walks in. Those are the fireworks, and then he mellows out from there. And I liked that, and I thought that would be something that the education aspect, educating Alicia on how to treat these people.
Yeah, especially because in the final scene, she does exactly that to him when he is asking her to do something, and
the look on his face.
Yeah, it's just priceless. I mean, there's not. Let's be honest with Eli Gold. There's not a lot of range generally. The writers don't employ this character for a lot of emotion. He is there as the snippy, bossy, irritated Eli Gold, and he does it better than anybody else.
Let me tell you something. I know a lot of these people. He is the strategist. He knows how to win, and he does it.
Yeah.
That's for a while. That's what I wanted to be.
Yeah, and he does it beautifully. He's the bulldog. He does it well. And in that last scene where he's got the raised eyebrow and the pursed lips, no one does that better than Alan Cumming. Okay, let's be honest. He's so amazing in that role, and I'm so glad they nominated him again. Like, they obviously love this character. He's been This is his third nomination.
And it's been like 3 years, right, since he was nominated. So they're clearly watching the show. This is his biggest year in a long time with the whole campaign storyline. Did you kind of think that the other storyline was kind of cheesy with everyone throwing each other against the wall, spitting on the windows? I thought it was a little.
I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, It doesn't help him, and it takes about 12 minutes before you see him. I think you do get the last scene with him, and I think he has 4 or 5 scenes, although only 2 or 3 of them are anything substantial. But he does have a beginning, middle, and an end. That helps. There's just the problem for Alan Cumming is range, and there's not a lot of it in this episode or generally in the show, and that's not his fault. It's just the way that his character is employed by the writers. So I still have him in 4th, though. I don't think he can win because of the first 3 guys, but I'm super happy that he was nominated, though. I think that was a really good call. I want to talk, though, about Peter Dinklage, because I watched Hard Home again last night, which is always a plus, because it's one of the greatest episodes of television ever. It's so perfectly paced and well directed and written. The episode starts on him when he's in the, whatever you want to call it, palace or something, with Temple, talking to Daenerys, kind of imploring her to let him be her advisor, and then he stabs pretty much Jorah in the back. It's beautifully done. And then he has the other scene, it's another long, beautifully written scene where he's in that room, again with Daenerys at the table, they're talking. It's really good. But then that's it. And so after the second scene, I thought, I have to really reconsider where I put him, because I've got him in second last. Well, then there's nothing.
That's the thing. When I was like, when I was watching that, I was like, oh, wow, this might be different. And then I saw what the next scene was, and it was that big bad, that 30-minute scene. It was that 30-minute.
It was incredible.
And I was like, oh, yeah, okay, there's nothing else after this.
Yeah.
Yeah, his scenes with Daenerys were really, really good. I just wanted more. If I'm a voter, I'm not going to give someone a trophy for that.
They usually go for fireworks. They're not big fans of, the
people talking.
But even with people talking, usually there has to be a big spark, like when Claire Danes won for what was the name of that episode?
Q&A.
Q&A, yeah, Q&A.
Right.
It was just them talking to each other, but there's a lot of high stakes in there.
Yeah. So, what do you think? Is there a chance?
I'm sure he'll win again for this role. I think. Didn't they announce it's going to be an 8-season show? So there's still 3 seasons left. I think the competition is too tough this year.
Yeah, it is tough. If he does win, if he ends up winning on that night, we will all be saying it's because Game of Thrones has a really good night, and he just goes along here.
If he wins, I think it's probably a sure sign that this is when you drama series.
Yeah, And it'll be the popular aspect as opposed to us just relying on the episodes.
Right. And this episode is up for writing as well, I think.
No, it's not.
I think it's directing.
No, it's not up for either of them.
Oh, that's a real shame. Alex did a brilliant job directing this.
The writing, the Game of Thrones episode for writing is Mother's Mercy, and the directing nominees are Mother's Mercy and Unbowed, Unbent, Unbroken.
Okay, well there you go. It was the best episode of the season, generally. That's the general consensus. I'm surprised it wasn't nominated in either of those categories. Yeah, so look, I don't think Dinklage has really a shot here. There's just too much competition. And that brings me to Jim Carter. I always have him in last place. I feel really bad for this. Every year I have him in last place. Marcus, you have him in fifth place, but
yes,
Charlie, you agree with
number
me.
5.
You actually see... Did he? What was the episode that he submitted? Was it episode 6?
It was the 9th episode. It was the Christmas.
Episode 9. Yeah. By the way, Cummings submitted undisclosed recipients, and Dinklage Hardhome. Just so we all know. Oh, and Mendelsohn submitted episode 12. Why, Jim? I just don't think there's enough range, impact.
There's empathy.
So great.
There is empathy. Okay, fair enough.
It's that last scene with him and Mrs. Hughes. It's so touching, to see the culmination of this relationship that they've built over the past. Well, I mean, they've been building it since the show began, but this angle of the relationship they've been doing for, I think, the past year or two, and it's just really sweet. And you see this really nice side to him. The only reason I have I might switch him and Dinklage. Actually, I might put Dinklage in last and him in 5th place. He does have that. It's heartwarming and it's nice.
Mm-hmm. But he has the problem that every Downton Abbey cast member has, which is it's a very, very enormous cast, a SAG-winning cast, and this episode was 90 minutes long, and he's maybe only in 20 minutes of it, and that impact scene that we're all talking about, that comes at the very end. So the voter has to stick with an hour and a half. Or maybe at least fast forward it to get to that scene, because all of the other scenes he's in, he's great like normal, but there's nothing, stand out with all of those other scenes. It's just him going, to look for a new house or a new whatever it was.
I think, and his major problem is the stiff upper lip kind of style of acting that Downton Abbey has, but that being said, they must really love this character. He's nominated over and over again.
4 times.
Others are ignored. Yeah,
4 consecutive nods.
Jim Carter is a well-known journeyman character actor, but he's not such a star that he's paid his dues and deserves all this attention. They're voting for him on merit. They love the character and they love his performance every single season. There's something to be said for that. Where other people have come in and out, he's always there. And we can't ignore that.
He's outlasted Maggie Smith.
He sure has. And he should be very proud of this.
And also, we should just note we're going by when Downton went to drama as opposed to miniseries category.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
So he's outlasted Maggie Smith.
He sure has. Yeah, go ahead.
Have you guys ever noticed that Mr. Carson kind of resembles our own Chris Beecham?
The stoic leader.
Yeah, when I was watching it.
Okay, when this next season comes on, that's all I'm going to to be seeing now.
Yeah, with his southern accent, it's going to blow my mind.
Yeah,
and the red hair. That's good. Yeah, okay. I never thought of it that way, but yes. And so I don't know who would be Maggie Smith in our group, but that's a completely different conversation. Okay, fair enough.
Wait, Rob, you kind of would be Thomas.
Wow. Okay. I'm cool with that.
Yeah, he's a good character.
Who's the guy? Who's the Irish guy that marries into the family? He was like
Branson.
Yeah. I want it to be him, but that's okay. I can be Thomas.
I'm Edith.
You're Edith.
Yeah.
Charlie.
I'm Shirley MacLaine.
You're Shirley MacLaine. Okay. Clutching your pearls. Oh. Well, there you have it.
Did we talk about all of them?
The conversations we and Tom have. We're just bitches to each other the whole time.
Pretty much. That's it, guys. I think this one's a really tough one. I think any of these guys could really win it if the voters wanted to. We've seen surprises before, but going by the episode alone, it looks like we've got 3 guys in the running. The other 3 guys are not so much.
Well, you could be more generous than that. You could just say, Jonathan Banks, by all accounts, is the front runner. But really, the X factor is just you never know with these Emmy voters.
Right. And Gold Derby is predicting Jonathan Banks. In second place, Gold Derby is predicting Peter Dinklage, and then Ben Mendelsohn, and then Michael Kelly down in fourth, and then Alan Cumming, and then poor Jim Carter in sixth.
He's always at the bottom.
Jim Carter, sixth on our place list, but fourth in our hearts.
We'll end it there. Thanks, everybody.